This episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Guys, you don't need to choose between price and quality to get an amazing and affordable shave. DollarShaveClub.com's the answer. To prove how amazing the shave really is, right now they're going to give you your first month free to join the club. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors right to your door for a third of the price of what the greedy razor corporations charge. Join the club just like I did and stop dealing with the drugstore hassle and battle the locked up razor fortress ever again. I've been looking good. Kevin's been complimenting me all the time. He's been touching my face, and he's just like, man, Tim, this is so soft. I'm like, thanks, Kevin. Dollar Shave Club. Anyway, just go to Dollar Shave Club, pick a razor from their lineup of amazing blades. I've been using their executive blade, and it's dope. Let me tell you what. See why over 3 million members like me love Dollar Shave Club. They're so confident in the quality of all their products. Now you can get your first month of the club for free. Just pay shipping. After that, it's just a few bucks a month. No long-term commitments. I know how you're scared of those things. Love and Sex Stuff every Monday, 9 a.m., except for right now because it's on hiatus for a little bit. Anyway, no hidden fees. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Gamescast. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Gamescast. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 90 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller. Let me tell you, folks, you got you got a hell of a show ahead of you today.
What the fuck was that?
I broke.
I was like,
I had to rewind.
I was really disturbed.
It's been quite disturbing. The day, you
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Whoa.
All right?
Whoa.
You all right?
We were the coolest dude in video
All
games
right.
2 seconds ago. What's wrong?
You are.
Oh, are we yelling at him?
I'm not.
Listen
No,
here,
are we doing this
motherfucker. We
again?
got quite a show for you, you piece of
Son
shit.
a bitch. No, but seriously, we are recording this show super out of order, and it's going to be kind of a weird show. We already shot topics 3 and 4 with a very special guest, Greg Knessa.
Nailed it. You nailed it.
Greg Knessa, who is the most fascinating human being in the entire world when it comes to video games. He is the creator of Xbox Live Arcade.
Yep.
He was here to have us check out one of his new things he's working on, Sparkade.
Sparkade, his new game, yeah.
Which you'll hear all about it, and my God, it's all very fascinating.
Yeah.
Very, very cool stuff. And the longest topics in Gamescast history. Between topics 3 and 4, you're getting an hour and 55 minutes of content.
There you
and
go.
It's damn good content.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to prepare that, let you guys know that that's happening in the future. The first couple topics here probably going to be a little bit shorter. At least maybe one of them
for sure.
One of them for sure will be. We're going to be doing reviews of the Mafia 3 and of Gears of War 4. Gears of War 4 probably going to be a shorter topic, but we're just letting you know that so you can prepare yourselves and whatever. You're getting some real good stuff later. Of course, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast, where every week we get together, talk about video games and all the things we love or dislike about them. Then you can listen to it for free on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, or you can listen to this for money at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. But you get it early, and that's a great old time for everybody. And it allows us to do cool things like have this studio or buy Colin nice haircuts.
Like
Or
this
Greg
one.
nice haircuts.
And this line right there and that line right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's wrong, Call? Can't place it?
This is Xenosaga?
No. This is
Kingdom Hearts.
Xenoblade.
Xenoblade. Oh, same thing.
It starts with Xeno.
Xeno something.
Is it Xeno Drifter?
It definitely wasn't Xeno.
Is it
different
Xenophobia?
Xenos.
Xenosaga
It's a
was
different franchise. Xenosaga. Some issues there.
Yeah.
Where do
Well,
you
look at
fall on
this.
Xenogears?
Oh, I like Xenogears. It was definitely rushed at the end, but I got that in 9th grade. I liked it. Xenosaga, I remember I bought the first episode 1. It was like some German name. And it was literally, I remember putting it into my PS2 and it literally just wouldn't start. Like,
Really?
No, I like the cutscene at the beginning of that game.
Oh, yeah.
Is fucking, I feel like it's over an hour long.
Cosmos.
It's like,
whatever.
I'm like, I can't.
I had to give him
And
one
then
or two.
and then I
Couldn't
was
even
just-
do it.
That was the end of that.
I gotta go.
That was the end of that.
My really good friend Curran, one of his favorite games of all time, Xenogears.
Really? It's a great game.
Then he got Xenosaga and was like, no.
Yeah.
No. But anyways.
I knew that it was
Xenoblade.
Xenoblade, but I called it Xenosaga, so I was close enough, and you knew exactly what I was talking about, audience. It's all the same.
You know, Colonel is starring right now in a video over on youtube.com/kindoffunny.
You should check it out. He proposed to his girlfriend. It was fantastic.
Does he make any Xenogears references in that?
He doesn't. I mean, maybe if you look, you think real hard, and
Sure.
you stretch. I'm sure
Sure.
someone.
You squint.
Here, I'm asking all of you a favor right now. I need you to go over to youtube.com/kindoffunny to find the proposal video, and I need you to try to find something that you can stretch to reference Xenogears and leave it in the comments of that video. I'll appreciate that very, very much. Anyways, let's get right into it here because the rigmarole's all done. You guys know all that stuff. Mafia 3. You've been playing it.
Mm-hmm. You've been playing the balls off Mafia.
Yeah, I played it
3.
for about 25 hours, I would say, so far. Yeah.
You played it last night, so you're even above the 25 hours.
Yeah, probably,
now.
yeah.
Yeah. You and I were both excited for this. Codes came when I was
very,
in
very excited for it.
Montreal. Mm-hmm. How's it pan out?
It's okay.
God damn it.
We talked about it on PS I Love You, but for those that didn't hear it, I mean, obviously, happy to talk about it again. I think that Mafia 3's presentation in terms of its story, its voice acting, its characters and character development, I think is fantastic. I think that they really nailed that. I think there's like a lot of compelling characters. For those that don't know, it does take place in the same world as Mafia 2. Vito Scaletta is actually, who is the protagonist in Mafia 2, is actually one of your associates in Mafia 3 is in the game. It takes place in 1968 in a place called New Bordeaux, which is New Orleans, just their fictional version of New Orleans. And it's you play as a black man named Lincoln Clay. That's important because the Deep South is incredibly racist in the 1960s. He comes back from Vietnam. He's a decorated soldier. He's also special ops kind of guy, so he has a lot of special training and stuff like that. He comes back. He has an adopted kind of family that took him in when he was younger. Push comes to shove. It's very early in the game. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so if you don't want any spoilers, you can just go away for 15
You want me to
seconds.
do the head tap again?
Don't bother. Just go away for the next 15 seconds. Is a
Mute it
spoiler.
for 15 seconds.
But the very close to the beginning of the game, his family's killed by the mob, and he has to. He basically goes out on. He doesn't have to, but he goes out on a revenge tour, basically, to seize the assets of this particular mobster through all of his lieutenants and capos, and then to work his way up to the top. So the whole foundation of it's great. It's just that everything else isn't great. And the game is a little half-baked. A lot of technical problems.
What are some of the technical problems you're running into? Because I talked about it on PSLV as well. I saw the Reddit GIF of the car on the overpass, turning off of the overpass, and then just continuing to drive as if there was an invisible road.
Nothing too weird in terms of like gameplay things that you wouldn't expect to happen necessarily, like
you're not falling through the world.
No, the game's crashed probably 4 or 5 times on me. Like just crashed in the middle of whatever, and I have to restart wherever the last checkpoint. That's one thing. There's severe and significant lighting issues in the game. I've never seen it. I've never seen anything like it in my life, actually. And I played.
Kevin was commenting on this too, based on the couple hours he played.
Yeah, I played many video games. The lighting is all fucked up in this game, and some people are saying that they're not having problems with it. I don't know. Maybe you're just playing it on a different console. On PS4 or with whatever patch we launched with, I have no idea. I haven't looked at. The lighting's fucking terrible, and the sun rises. It's like you're on the surface of Mercury. Like you can't see anything. Then like the sun goes down. You're in the bayou or whatever, and then you just can't fucking see. It's just dark. Now I understand you're in the bayou and it's supposed to be dark, but it's a video game. I need to be able to see like where I'm going. There's a problem when you go in and out of buildings where like sometimes the lighting just doesn't turn on inside a building, so like it's just dark inside. There's just a lot of weird.
It's too real.
I just don't really understand. Like I've never seen a game botch lighting like this. Like I don't. That's one thing. From a gameplay perspective, the AI is stupid. It's extremely stupid and easy to manipulate because you're doing the same things in the game over and over again. So the structure of the game is very similar to Mafia. Actually, really kind of similar to Godfather 2. If anyone played that the EA game, which I actually think is I have to say a much better game. I played it 7 years ago or whatever, but in terms of gameplay, in terms of what you're doing, I actually remember really liking Godfather 2. I could really give I don't like Mafia 3's gameplay hook as much. The basic thing is that New Bordeaux is separated into segments, little sectors basically. Each is controlled by a different lieutenant or capo. And then within there are different rackets that you have to take over to draw the capo out. And the idea is really cool because you're basically doing monetary damage to their take, which is an interesting thing. That the rackets are controlled so that there's a take of $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, whatever it is. So you're going around like murdering people or like stealing money or like destroying trucks and like ammo and all these kinds of things. And every time you do, a little spin thing happens in the corner saying like you've removed this much more money out of their pockets and this much more money out of their pockets. You get it down to 0, then you can attack the racket. And it's a nice idea, except for the fact that like you just do the same thing over and over and over and over again. It is just so fucking monotonous. There's no variety to any of it.
This is what I talked about before.
That's a huge
with you,
problem.
right? This is the thing that the game sounds like a PS3 game or, you know, a PS2 game. It sounds like Spider-Man 2, right? Where there's all these limited interactions to go be the hero. Granted, different thing, but you understand what I'm saying. Is that like they have this giant open world, they have this cool story, but they're just not doing interesting things with it.
Yeah, it's like there's at the core of the game is something really interesting, which is like I like it. Like I was talking about the Bayou before. The Bayou is at the south end of New Bordeaux, and it's probably half the map. These kind of, it's like a delta, you know, these disparate elements are like, you know, running weed or moonshine or doing all these things, and you're constantly going down there to like deal with them. And it's cool. It's a nice idea, but there's just no real variety to what you're doing in a game like this with a story this good and a voice acting cast this good and a plot kind of idea and setting this good. The gameplay must serve the story, but it doesn't. It's basically a distraction. I'm playing through the game just to get to the story instead of playing the game because I want to play the game. And I play it very meticulously, where I'm finding all the collectibles and the Playboy magazines and the Vargas paintings and all of these little switches and stuff like that you use to take over call boxes. Basically, is the whole mechanic there, but it just comes off as very half baked. And what I'm interested in is like how much of the game, you know, a different studio was working on this game in the beginning. I'm curious, like if any of it was taken from, you know, I think it was 2K Prague or something like that, and they were shut down. And then Hangar 13 was basically opened up in Nevada, which is just north of San Francisco. And I'm not saying Nevada, I'm saying Novato. And they made this game, and I don't know if it's like all theirs or some theirs or what. I don't know the whole situation, but it reeks of a game that is just wasn't given enough time. You know, I was kind of saying that I wasn't worried about the quality of the game for 2K to not release the codes early. Now I understand completely why they didn't release the codes early and make the game available to reviewers, because the game for the first 5 hours is really, really cool, and then it just doesn't go anywhere. The story is interesting.
That's a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like the story's really cool because you're working like intimately with a CIA agent that you worked with in Vietnam, and all the gangsters are really cool. These like different characters. A guy named Uncle Lou, who's kind of like, he's always on the radio, and he's like this super southern fucking dude, but he's like a criminal, and you always hear him on the, you know, if you see me on the street, come stop, maybe I'll buy you a whiskey or something like that.
Honey,
and it's like,
progress.
it's all the characters are great, but like, you know, these guys are getting blackmailed, or these guys are like, you know, running ammunition, and these guys are running shit from Cuba and like, or Haiti, and like there's all these like weird shit going on that's like really cool. It makes a much more dynamic story than Mafia 2's, and I thought Mafia 2's story was really cool. And I think Vito's inclusion in Mafia 3 as one of your lieutenants is fucking awesome. Like I think that's really cool, because I think Vito Scarletta's character is an interesting character too, but and also getting out of the Italian kind of thing where it's like the black mob, the Irish mob, the Haitian mob, all these kinds of different things, in addition to the Italian mob, in addition to the Dixie mob, and all these kinds of things. It's cool. Like there's all these gangsters that are like, you know, interacting with each other. This game had a lot of potential. It's just, it didn't reach the potential. And all the little cool ideas in the game, like the little gameplay tweaks are neat, but they're also a little half-baked. I was talking about the call boxes before. You find these fuses. There are way too many of them in the game. Like, I don't know why there has to be. I literally have 180 of them right now. Like, and you use 3 at a time to hack these call boxes, basically. And then it gives you information on where enemy locations are, where collectible locations are. Makes the game easier if you do them. And then there's this other idea where like, and I really like this idea. So the game plays up a lot of its, it actually opens with a thing of saying like there's like overt racism in this game, like completely overt. You've never seen it in a game like this. And they're basically saying like, it's because this is the way it was. Like this would have been Lincoln Clay's experience.
You're talking about it opens with this letter from the
right.
developers, right? And they're basically like, we don't agree with this. This is not what we would say or how we would act, but we think it's important to include this so you understand the historical reference and where we were. Super
fucking racist game. But that's the story of the game. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying like, there's an interesting story and a boldness to this particular game that I don't think is met with its story. And there are nice ideas where like, if you're in a white neighborhood and someone sees you commit a crime, someone will call the cops, and the cops will show up immediately. If you do it in a black neighborhood, the cops don't even care. Like the cops might come, and like sometimes you can just stand there, and sometimes they just don't even come at all. But there's like these weird things where, like, someone will call cops on me almost every time I steal a car. But if I like bash into a store and steal cash in front of them and like knock someone over, they're like, I'm gonna call the cops, but no one ever calls the cops. Not once. I've been in 100 of these stores. No one's ever called the cops. Right? The cops are easy enough to manipulate too. Like you can just hide. Like they don't really look for you very carefully. You can really hitting left on the D-pad lets you whistle. So if you're behind cover, someone's like, whoa. Well, and then like walks over and you just stab them. No one else sees it. Then the next guy comes over, you just stab him. The next guy comes over, and it's like, then once in a while they will see you. And it's just, I know I'm rambling, but it's just an inconsistent experience, and I'm really diving in because I really like Mafia, and I'm really diving in and trying. I'm like I said, I'm finding all the fuses, all the collectibles, doing. But at the end of the day, like it's just kind of a muddled mess.
Here's my question, though.
I think it's fine. I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it is not. It's not as good as Mafia 2, which is shocking, and it had this potential to be a great game.
So why are you still playing? That's you talk about it. You sound like a defeated guy, and usually when a game doesn't pan out for you, you just leave it. And I feel like you're still doing this, but you're not enjoying it.
Because I want the story. I want to see what happens. Like I want to see what happens to Lincoln Clay, and I want the story. And I like the idea of like it's very literal. Like if you go into, and it's a cool idea. If you go into like a part of the start menu, it's like it basically says it has like 6 lieutenants and then 3 capos and then the guy at the top, right? And who's Marcano, I think his name is. And you like each of the 2 lieutenant pairs are attached to a capo. And so like once you hit the 2 lieutenants and all their shit, then you can actually go after that particular person. It's kind of like a neat idea where it's like you're drawing them out and like slowly whittling their take and ruining their control of the city. It's a nice story of revenge, but it needed another like year. It needed like a design. I think that like one of the things that it lacks is it just doesn't have any design. Like there's no design there. You're not doing anything different. Like to take over the rackets, you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And there might be a different story tweak or something like that, but you're basically just you can slink through and no one sees you. You can just go in guns blazing. It doesn't really fucking matter. The game's not hard by any stretch of the imagination. And the cool little things that you can do are also a little muddled. Like you have 3 different lieutenants that work with you, which is you have this black woman who runs the Haitian mob. You have this guy named Burke who's like an Irish mobster, and then you have Vito. And you assign them different things that you take, and they get mad or happy based on. So there's a cool little system there, and they can actually turn on you, and then you have to actually go kill them. And I'm trying to keep them all happy with me, so I'm like distributing things equally between them, and hopefully everyone's cool with it. Burke's getting a little mad because he hasn't really gotten anything.
Fuck
yet.
that guy.
But to me, it's a particular situation where like there's a lot of great ideas, but there's nothing there to bind it or execute the ideas properly in a way that would make it like an 8 or a 9. Instead, it's like a 6 or a 5.5 or something like that. Where it's a shame because it's a really cool idea and I just can't recommend it because I think that on a gameplay level there are so many better games than this on this open world driving cars, shooting shit. I mean, Grand Theft Auto. Like,
do you think this game would have benefited if it wasn't open world, if it was a bit more linear?
No, I don't know because the complaint about Mafia 2 is that it had this open world that was empty. Like it wasn't done. The 2K Czech or 2K Prague, whoever the fuck made it was. They had this really nice idea, this nice narrative, and an interesting gameplay, but the world was empty.
Drove through this thing. And
now I feel like the world's even bigger, still empty, and there's a lot of collectibles, but there's no life there. I don't feel like anything matters in the world. I just feel like it's an open world to be an open world, and maybe it would have been more like The Getaway and been better if it brought you from point A to point B. I don't know that it would have alleviated the problem. Maybe it would have because it would have forced you through the story, but then who would have cared? Because it's just games like The Getaway don't really exist anymore, where it's like you want more than you're getting. I don't know. I just think it's just disappointing, and I wanted more out of it. I know some people out there are enjoying it, and I think it's great, but the vast majority of the feedback I've gotten from people on Twitter, et cetera, and from other people in the industry is that I'm absolutely right. Like the game is just kind of fucked on a technical level, and it's just half baked on a gameplay level, and so I really was duped by this game. That's my own fault. 100%, but I went in and I was like, this is gonna be great. There's no way this isn't gonna be great. They worked on it for so long. Mafia 2 came out years ago,
Yeah.
They learned their lessons.
Yeah, but they didn't.
I'm surprised because I agree with what you're saying in the sense that I saw your tweets about the game and I kind of looked into it and saw what everyone else was saying. And I don't think I've seen a game that isn't either universally liked or disliked. That's just kind of like it. Everyone seems to love the story and hate the gameplay. And I can't believe that everyone lines up with that. Like it's when you look at any of the major sites reviews or even just like random people's tweets and stuff, I'm like, man, like everyone seems to be really on the same page of this, of like, yeah, that 6 to 7 area for it. So
yeah, and we were talking about, earlier in the year, Doom, Bethesda released Doom and id released Doom, and we didn't get codes until the game came out, and we were like, what should we worry about it? And it ended up being that Doom is one of the best games of the year. So with Mafia 3, I was like, they just want to control the narrative, like they don't care. That like they're gonna sell games and it's coming out on a Friday worldwide release. They're gonna sell the games over the weekend. They don't really care. And what ended up being that I was wrong. I think that they held it because they knew, like that they absolutely knew. And I don't quite understand. I mean, they have to reach their metrics and they have these release dates and all these kinds of things. But I think that given a little bit more time and a little bit more maturation of the ideas there, that this game could have been fantastic because they have this story, these characters, but it's like two different games. It's really weird. It's all, like that's exactly the way to explain it. It's just two different games. It's like this very milquetoast open world game with this really one of the great stories and games I remember. I mean, that's kind of like where I'm like, wow, these characters, man, are really great. The voice acting's fucking awesome. The CIA agent, Lincoln Clay, the Father James, whatever his name is, the priest, all the lieutenants, all the mobsters. This is a really robust kind of thing they got going on, and it's just not served or serviced by the game. And so what I said on PS I Love You reigns. I don't think this is worth $60. I think it might be worth investigating at $20 or $30 if you want, but I certainly don't endorse it the way I thought I was going to. I definitely had assumptions about this game that were not met. And the reason I'm playing it all the way through is because I want the story. And I look at the games I played this year. I played 55 games or something this year by my count. And I've only beaten a dozen of them or so because I'm moving on from one game to the next, or some games are not beatable or whatever. Like if I'm playing Pac-Man or something, I mean, you're not beating that game. But I want to sit down and really like beat it, you know? And that sounds perverted, but I want to sit down and beat it in that way too. But I want to beat this particular game and move on. And then, but it's kind of funny because in the back of my head, before we got Mafia, I started to fuck around with Tomb Raider on PS4, and that game is just so superior. You know, they're different kinds of games, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, if you have $60 to spend right now and you're looking at Tomb Raider or Mafia, I've only played Tomb Raider for 5 hours, and it's
Tomb Raider's great.
Obvious as the day is long, you want to get Tomb Raider. So I'm like, I want to get Mafia just out of the way.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't want to stop now. I put so much time into it. But I've told myself now I'm not going to be so meticulous about getting all the collectibles and stuff like that, because that's half the time I'm spending anyway. It's just running around like a fucking moron looking for Playboy magazines. So
just like real life for adolescents.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although it's pretty cool, the collectibles are cool. Like they're, you know, you're getting real record. The music's cool. A lot of great late '60s music that you're finding records and real record covers. You're finding real Playboys. You can actually read some of them, some interviews in them and stuff. It's cool.
You got the titties in there?
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember when I wrote the guide for Mafia 2 at IGN. It was so awkward because I had to like, I was at work with just girls' tits on my fucking TV, and I'm like, this is the game. So,
but what are you doing under that blanket?
so yeah, that's my conclusion on Mafia 3 is it's just super half baked. It could have used way more time, way more design, aesthetic, and I don't mean that from a graphical standpoint. Technical issues are inexcusable. The AI sucks. The game's not hard, and I like hard games, and I just feel like there's a lot of obtuseness to the structure of this quest. There's just nothing's right about the gameplay. Almost nothing. I mean, I don't agree. A lot of people are saying the driving sucks. I don't think the driving sucks, but again, it's not Grand Theft Auto. I don't think we were looking at this being like, this is gonna be like Grand Theft Auto, but it's certainly not even in the echelon below Grand Theft Auto in terms of open world games. So
there you go.